Exposed, my life-changing journey from double betrayal to dating an incredible tycoon. Emily never thought life could unravel so fast. One moment, she was a waitress at Millie's diner, serving coffee with a smile to familiar faces, and the next, she was standing in a puddle of shattered trust. Discovering Jake's betrayal felt like a gut punch. The man she loved was not only cheating, but also robbing Millie and Charlie, the parents she never had. They had poured their hearts into the diner, supporting her after she lost everything. Now, Emily's heart ached in ways she didn't know possible. The whispers in town cut deep. Friends turned into judges, and shame clung to her like a heavy winter coat. As she wiped down tables, her mind raced through every betrayal, every moment of laughter she had shared with Jake, only to realize they were built on lies. Tears pricked her eyes as she forced herself to breathe. She couldn't let this define her. Then came the surprise visit from her father's buddies. Old military men with weathered hands and worn smiles. They filled the diner with stories. They shared tales of her father's quiet strength and bravery, teaching her resilience. Each word lifted her, wrapping her in a sense of purpose, igniting a spark inside her. If they could face the world after war-torn battles, she could rise from this emotional battlefield. Now fueled with newfound determination, Emily borrowed her mother's old mixing bowls and started her catering business from her family's kitchen. It began small, a few trays for local events. But the community rallied around her, captivated by the love and care she poured into each dish. Slow dancing around her kitchen, the aroma of garlic and thyme filled the air, coaxing smiles and family memories from every corner. Just as she was finding her footing, life threw her a curveball in the form of William. The tycoon from Chicago caught her off guard with his infectious charm and ambitious dreams. He whispered possibilities in her ear, painting a life so different from her own. Their connection lit a fire in her heart that she desperately wanted to explore. Yet, Emily hesitated, her roots digging deep in Riverside's soil, her family's values tugging at her heartstrings. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As her feelings for William deepened, she was on the brink of a life-altering decision. Could she leave behind the diner, the community, even her own fears? How could she climb the ladder of success without sacrificing the essence of who she was? The pressure of expectations weighed heavily as she found herself standing at the diner's door, looking back at the life she built in Riverside and forward into the blinding light of opportunity. William's gaze locked onto hers, waiting for her reply, while the echoes of betrayal reverberated in her mind. The future hung in the air: the leap or the safety net. Emily took a deep breath, her heart racing. She was caught between two worlds, a battle raging in her mind. The diner felt like an anchor, a symbol of her past struggles and triumphs, while William represented a thrilling future. The warmth of the diner surrounded her, enveloping her in a cocoon of comfort, yet the excitement in William's eyes ignited a fire within her that she had almost forgotten existed. "What do I do?" she whispered to herself, glancing back at the bustling kitchen where familiar faces were busy creating the same dishes that had filled her childhood with joy. Millie was humming softly while checking on the pies, her smile as steady as the hands that kneaded dough with love. Charlie, her rock, was flipping pancakes, his laughter echoing off the walls, reassuring her that everything would be okay. Those moments grounded her in who she was, rooted her in this community, yet she felt the pull of something greater, something she had never dared to imagine. William stepped closer, his voice soft yet confident. "Emily, you have so much potential. I see your passion, your talent. You could create something incredible, and I want to help you." His invitation was like a siren song, whispering of adventure and promise. The idea rushed through her mind, filling her with a mix of exhilaration and dread. Could she really leave behind everything? The thought of stepping into the unknown was terrifying. She recalled the stories her father's friends had shared of courage, sacrifice, and the battles faced not just outside, but within. But what if she failed? What if she wasn't strong enough to face the world alone? Emily? William's voice brought her back, his concern evident. I don't want to rush you. Take your time. His understanding manner eased her anxiety, even if just a little. She could see the sincerity in his eyes. It stirred something deep within her, a longing for a life beyond the diner, infused with ambition and dreams. But the nagging thought crept in that maybe she wasn't meant for such a life. Perhaps she belonged right here, with her family and friends. In that moment, a spark of determination ignited. She had already begun to forge her own path with the catering business, which had gained momentum and respect in town. Why couldn't she expand that? Why couldn't she aim for the stars while still carrying the heart of Riverside with her? With her heart racing, she looked back at William, who watched her with anticipation. I need to think about it, she finally said, the words tasting bittersweet on her tongue. Of course. Just know that I believe in you, Emily. He smiled, and for a moment, the weight of her doubts felt just a little lighter. As they stood together at the threshold of a potential new life, Emily's phone buzzed in her pocket. It was a message from Millie. We could use your magic in the kitchen tonight. Bring your heart. With a soft smile, she glanced back into the diner, where her heart truly belonged. But the faint whisper of opportunity lingered in her mind. The battle was far from over. What would happen when she opened the door to her dreams? Would they shatter like her past, or transform her into someone she was always meant to be? The choices loomed heavy as the evening light began to fade, and Emily could feel the weight of possibility pressing down on her. The next step awaited, but which direction would she choose? Emily stepped inside the diner, the familiar smell of coffee and baked goods wrapping around her like a warm hug. The chatter of customers filled the space, the clinking of cutlery creating a comforting rhythm. Millie looked up from her pie station and waved her over with a grin, her flour-dusted hands still kneading dough. There you are. Thought you'd vanished on us. Millie chuckled, the sparkle in her eyes showing that no matter how tough life got, laughter could always make it lighter. Emily couldn't help but smile back, even though the weight of her earlier conversation with William lingered. She helped Millie with the pies, lifting the crusts, rolling the dough, and sharing snippets of her day. But today was different. Her mind kept drifting back to the world outside, one that felt tantalizingly close yet infinitely distant. It nagged at her like a persistent itch that couldn't be scratched. Earth to Emily. Charlie's voice pulled her from her reverie. He stood beside her, flipping pancakes, his brow furrowed in mock seriousness. You daydreaming about new recipes again? Something like that, she replied, trying to shake off the tension that pulled at her heart. Charlie leaned closer, lowering his voice. What's going on? You've been quieter than usual. She hesitated. Could she open up? Could she confide in him about the opportunity that was blooming in her mind like a wildflower? Inviting chaos into her cozy little bubble felt reckless. But then, was staying safe really what she wanted? I don't know, Charlie, she said finally, her voice barely above a whisper. There's this chance for something different. Something big. And it terrifies me. The panic in her voice sounded strange in her own ears. Okay, tell me about it, he encouraged, adjusting a stack of plates for the next order. She took a deep breath, her fingers trembling as she wiped her hands on her apron. William, he's offering to help me grow my catering business, maybe even break into bigger events in the city. But the thought of leaving this place, she gestured around her, it feels like I'm being pulled in two directions. Charlie paused, measuring her words thoughtfully. I get it, Em. But this could be a chance to do what you've always dreamed about. Everyone knows how talented you are. But what if it doesn't work? What if I fail? It was a question she hadn't fully allowed herself to voice before, and saying it out loud made it all too real. Charlie placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. And what if it does? What if this is what you've been waiting for? Sometimes, you have to take a chance. You teach people that every day. His words found their mark, igniting a tiny flicker of hope within her. As the dinner rush began, the diner filled with laughter and conversation. Each face was familiar, a tapestry of memories woven from the countless hours spent here. But with every moment, Emily felt herself inching closer to a decision that could alter everything. She focused on the rhythm of the kitchen, the laughter of friends. Yet, in the depths of her heart, the call of the new adventure echoed louder. The more she wavered, the thicker the tension felt in her chest. Later that evening, as the diner began to empty, Emily gestured toward the back door, where the fading daylight painted a stunning, golden hue. "Can we talk?" she asked Charlie. "Of course." He followed her outside, and they stood in the parking lot, where the distant sounds of crickets serenaded them. Emily gazed out at the horizon, feeling the weight of her choice become clearer. What if I take the leap? What if I chase this dream and leave the diner behind? Charlie's eyes widened, but there was a sparkle of encouragement in them. Then you'll be carving a path, creating something beautiful. It doesn't need to mean cutting ties with us. You can still be part of this place while doing what you love. With fresh resolve bubbling inside her, Emily clenched her fists. "I can do this," she whispered, feeling the waves of fear and excitement crash within her. But just as the moment settled, her phone buzzed. Again. It was a message from William. "Are you ready to talk about your future?" Emily stared at the screen, her heart pounding. Was she really ready? It was time to decide. Would she embrace the unknown, or retreat to the safety of her past? Tomorrow loomed with possibilities. But this moment? It held her destiny. What awaited her on the other side of this threshold? Would fortune favor her brave leap, or would she find herself lost in a storm of her own creation? Emily stood frozen, the glow from her phone illuminating her anxious expression. Reality hit her like a cold wave, the words on the screen challenging her to leap. She could hear the distant laughter from inside the diner, the soothing clinks of dishes a stark contrast to the storm raging in her mind. "Hey, everything all right?" Charlie's voice cut through her thoughts. Concern shadowed his usual easygoing demeanor. "Yeah, just thinking." She tucked the phone into her pocket, trying to mask the conflicted emotions swirling within. "Thinking about William?" he asked gently, recognizing the signs. She nodded reluctantly, her heart battling with her head. The prospect of a new beginning felt intoxicating yet daunting. "He wants me to join him on this venture, but leaving the diner feels like letting go of home, right?" Charlie finished for her. Emily sighed, the weight of her past pulling at her like an anchor. What if it changes everything? What if I fail? Emily, sometimes we have to let go of what we know to reach what we truly want. You're already halfway there just by having that dream. He placed a steadying hand on her shoulder. But you need this, don't you? This isn't just about leaving. It's about stepping into who you are meant to be. The truth of his words filled her chest with warmth. Deep down, she knew he was right. Each shift in her routine felt like another brick laid on a path she was terrified to walk. "I want to do it, Charlie." "I really do," she admitted, her eyes sparkling with fresh determination. "But I also don't want to hurt anyone here. You all mean the world to me. That's why we're here for you. You need to do what's best for you. We'll always be your family, regardless of where you go next." Charlie's sincerity wrapped around her like a protective blanket. Taking a deep breath, Emily felt a flicker of courage ignite inside her. This wasn't just about leaving. It was about moving forward. "Okay," she said, her voice gaining strength. "I'll call him. I'll set up a time to meet and discuss what this would actually look like." Charlie's face lit up with a grin. "That's the spirit. I can't wait to see everything you'll accomplish. Just remember, you're still the girl with the pie crust magic." He gently nudged her side, and a small laugh escaped her lips despite the seriousness of the moment. As they walked back inside, the diner was alive again, filled with familiar voices, sweet scents, and the warmth of community. Emily watched the regulars with fresh eyes, fleeting images of her journey dancing before her like fireflies in the dusk. But even as her heart began to settle, uncertainty gnawed at her resolve. What if William's vision didn't align with hers? What if this new venture revealed sides of her she wasn't ready to face? Making her way through the bustling tables, she noticed Millie busy at the register, laughter and sarcasm flying back and forth with another customer. This was her backdrop. These were the pieces of her life she loved, and now there was a chance to expand, not erase. As she approached Millie, ready to share the news, her phone buzzed again. The message felt like a weighty reminder. "Let us meet tomorrow at noon. I have big ideas for us." Panic surged, blending with excitement. Could she really do this? Could she balance both the old and new parts of herself? Emily glanced around, at the comforts of her present that felt well-deserved yet fragile. Then she took a deep breath. Tomorrow would hold answers. But tonight, within the warmth of the diner, she felt something shift in her spirit, a quiet acknowledgement that her heart was calling, ready to forge ahead, and just like that, the world shifted slightly on its axis. The excitement danced in her stomach as she thought of the possibilities. But soon, another thought intruded. What if William had secrets of his own, hidden beneath the glossy surface of his ambitious plans? The first step into the unknown was only the beginning. What awaited her as she stepped into William's world? Would she encounter obstacles that could threaten everything she held dear? The next day dawned bright and clear, yet Emily felt the weight of clouds gathering in her heart. The morning sun spilled golden light across the diner, but all she could focus on was the ticking clock and the impending meeting. She moved through her morning routine almost on autopilot, the same motions that had once felt comforting now taking on an ominous air. "Hey, where are you off to in such a rush?" Millie asked as Emily swung past the register, a stack of plates in her arms. Millie clearly noticed the slight tremor of Emily's hands. "Just meeting someone," Emily replied, forcing a casual tone. "William, right?" Millie grinned, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Gonna charm the socks off him, huh?" Emily laughed lightly, but even the sound felt thin. She couldn't shake the notion that behind William's affable exterior lay something deeper, something she needed to uncover before diving in. After the early morning rush, time dragged. Each repeated clink of dishes and cozy laughter felt like a countdown. Just before noon, she slipped outside, the air filled with the scent of fresh coffee and baked goods. Her heart raced. What would happen? What would he say? The meeting was set at a cafe near the waterfront, and as she approached, the waves lapping gently at the shore felt like a soothing melody. But each step forward was heavy with doubt. Could she really transition from her world of familiar faces and comforting routines into William's ambitious empire? When she arrived, William was already waiting, casually sipping a cup of coffee. His presence was magnetic, the sunlight catching his tousled hair and highlighting his bright smile. Yet something flickered behind those eyes, an intensity that set her on edge. "Emily, great to see you." His voice was warm, filled with that infectious enthusiasm she remembered from their first meeting. "Thanks for meeting with me," she replied, trying to mirror his energy. They settled into a cozy nook indoors, surrounded by the soft murmur of other patrons. As they discussed logistics and possibilities, she couldn't help but feel both exhilarated and overwhelmed. The scope of his aspirations was vast, filled with dreams that mirrored her own yet felt dauntingly ambitious. But every so often, a stray comment or a sidelong glance reminded her that she didn't know everything about him. He spoke passionately about his plans, about risk-taking and growth, and Emily began to see the shape of a future where she could soar. She leaned in closer, captivated, even as the unease nagged at her. Yet, as they moved to the deeper aspects of their discussion, something shifted. William mentioned a partner he was working closely with, a name that turned Emily's stomach. She swallowed hard, pressing for specifics. "Is this partnership going to affect how we work together?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. William raised an eyebrow, his expression curious but guarded. "Nothing you need to worry about. It's all in the planning stages." But was it? The unspoken tension in the room began to suffocate her optimism. Why did he seem secretive about this partner? And why did she feel this intense unease settling in her chest? As they finished up, Emily made her final decision. "William, I'm in. But I need to know everything about this partnership you didn't share." His smile faltered just for a moment, a crack in his confident facade. Of course. I'll fill you in. Just give me some time, things are complicated right now. Complicated? The word echoed like a warning. As they parted, Emily's heart raced not from excitement, but trepidation. What had she just stepped into? With each passing moment, she couldn't shake the feeling that this venture might reveal more than just career aspirations. It could unearth deep-seated truths and betrayals. As she walked back to the diner, her mind spun. What shadows lurked behind William's charming facade? And how could she balance this new world while protecting her heart and her home? Tomorrow would bring even more revelations. Would the truth about William's partner change everything? The next morning greeted Emily with an almost painful brightness, yet inside, she felt heavy and restless. After the whirlwind of yesterday, thoughts about William and the unknown partner looped endlessly in her mind. She busied herself in the diner, pouring coffee and flipping pancakes, but the familiar rhythm was disrupted by her swirling thoughts. "Hey, Earth," to Emily. Millie's voice broke through her fog. "You okay? You seem a million miles away." Emily forced a smile, pushing down the tide of anxiety. "Just thinking about the meeting and the future." Millie leaned against the counter, eyeing her with concern. "You're not one to jump into things without a plan. What's on your mind?" "I don't know if I can trust him. There's this partner I haven't heard about. It's like I'm starting to surf a wave, and I can't see what's beneath." Emily glanced out the window. This could mean everything or nothing at all. "Trust your gut, Em. You've always had a good sense of people." At that moment, the bell above the cafe door chimed, and in walked William, all charm and confidence. He spotted Emily and waved a move that sent her heart bouncing between hope and dread. She wiped her hands on her apron and approached him with a mix of eagerness and apprehension. "Hey, glad to see you," he said, genuinely pleased. "Thanks for coming again," she replied, searching his expression for hints of authenticity. William took a seat at a table in the corner, organizing some papers. Emily sat down across from him, feeling a magnetic pull, but that pulsing unease crackled in the air. There was something in his straightforward demeanor that felt rehearsed, as if he was waiting for the right moment to reveal the true discussion to come. "So, you mentioned your partner last night was a bit vague." His expression flickered, a shadow passing over his bright smile. "Right. Apologies for not elaborating. It's complicated. Complications can be unsettling." She leaned forward, her heart racing. "I need to know what this means for our project." William studied her, an intensity in his gaze that sent heat creeping up her cheeks. "It's just business. A chance to expand, and I can see you being a major part of it. Yet I feel like I'm not getting the whole picture." The words tumbled out before she could stop them. "Why is there this secret?" His smile faltered, revealing a vulnerability she hadn't seen before. "Let's just say my partner has a different style and some personal matters that make this tricky." "Personal matters?" Her pulse quickened. "You mean?" "I can assure you it won't interfere with our work. I want this to be beneficial for both of us." The conviction in his voice was unsettling, and the surface ripples failed to quell the depth of her uncertainty. She took a deep breath, needing to reestablish her footing. "I believe in transparency, William. If I'm going to dive into this, we need to be honest with each other." He hesitated, the air thick with tension. "You will know everything, I promise." "But maybe not today?" Emily bit her lip, wanting to push for more, yet knowing there must be a limit. The unknowing gnawed at her, creating a swell of anxiety she couldn't ignore. How was she supposed to chase her dreams while also grappling with shadows lurking in the background? As they wrapped up their meeting, she felt a spark of determination igniting within her. "Okay, I'm on board. But let us set a date to revisit this, all right?" William nodded, a smirk tuning his lips. "I'll keep you posted, I promise." As Emily walked back to her comfort zone within the diner, she couldn't shake the feeling that she was wading into deep waters. How much more would she uncover? What would she find when the tides turned in her favor? Just as she approached the diner's door, a sudden thought struck her. If his partnership was more than just a business arrangement, was he hiding not just his truth, but a part of himself as well? Tomorrow, she would not only seek answers, but also uncover the depths of William's world. And as she turned the doorknob, she realized the path forward might be much more unpredictable than she'd ever thought. Would she be ready for what lay ahead? The next morning was draped in a thick fog, just as her thoughts were still murky from the previous day's revelations. Emily's steps were heavy as she made her way to the diner, an unsettling feeling clinging to her like the mist. She had put the whole discovery of William's partner on a mental list to address right at the top. Millie, always tuned into her moods, was pouring coffee when Emily arrived, her expression instantly morphing into one of concern. "You look like you've seen a ghost. What is eating you today?" Emily sighed, the weight of her intentions almost too heavy to share. "It's this whole William situation. I just can't shake off the feeling that there's something deeper going on." Millie set down the coffee pot, leaning in closer. "Are you thinking he might be hiding something serious?" "Maybe," Emily admitted, fiddling with the edge of her apron. "Or maybe I'm overthinking things. This could be a big opportunity for me, and I don't want to mess it up." "Trust your gut, Emily." Millie's voice softened. "If something feels off, it usually is. Just don't lose yourself in the process of chasing this dream." With their conversation hanging in the air, a familiar figure entered the diner, cutting through the fog and Emily's mind. William walked in with an easy smile, but his eyes seemed more guarded than before. Her heart raced, uncertainty and thrill mingling in her chest. "Morning, Emily," he said, effortlessly charming everyone around him. "Hi, William." She tried to keep her tone light, though her mind was racing at the possibility of unveiling truths. "I was hoping to talk more about that partnership today." He nodded, and the energy shifted from playful banter to something more serious, as if the cafe's lights dimmed slightly. "Absolutely. Let's sit down." As they settled into a booth, Emily faced him directly. She took a sip of coffee to gather her thoughts. "I figured after the last meeting, it's essential we clarify some things about your partner." William's gentle smile faded, and for a brief moment, uncertainty shadowed his eyes. "I appreciate your persistence. Trust me, it's not easy for me to talk about this." Her hands trembled slightly, but she pressed on. "Is this partner someone I should be worried about? Or is it just business complications?" He hesitated, scanning the diner as if looking for answers in the air. "My partner has always been complicated. There's a history, their personal baggage that is better left unexplored for now." Emily felt a pang of frustration. "But I need to know how that impacts our project. There are places we want to be able to go if there are hidden issues. I deserve to be fully informed." His gaze met hers with an intensity that lingered, a flicker of vulnerability flashing across his features. "You do deserve that. Maybe I can share a bit more today." Just then, the ringing of her phone broke the moment. Glancing at the screen, her heart dropped. It was her brother's name flashing across it. He rarely reached out during work hours. "Excuse me for a moment," she said, her voice tight as she stepped outside. William's expression turned serious as he watched her go, recognizing the concern etched on her face. "Hey, what's up?" she answered, her mind racing with thoughts of William, his partner, and now this unexpected call from her brother. We need to talk. It's important." His voice was strained, sending a fresh wave of anxiety crashing over her. "Is everything all right?" she asked, gripping the phone tightly. "Not really. Just meet me at Mom's. We have to discuss what's going on, and I don't want you to hear it from anyone else." Emily's heart raced. "Trouble back home?" Her world flipped once again, leaving her confused and torn. She glanced back toward the diner, at William waiting inside, his expression unreadable. "Okay, I'm on my way," she said, disconnecting the call. "What now?" Torn between family obligation and her burning curiosity about William, Emily had to make a decision. Was she about to plunge into two deep waters at once, or did she dare let one of those waves break? As she turned to head back inside, determination surged within her. This day was going to reveal more than she ever anticipated. What awaited her next was uncertain, but she'd have to brace herself for it. Would it all lead her closer to the truth, or unravel everything she held dear? The drive to her mother's house felt like a surreal blur, a disjointed collage of Emily's thoughts spiraling from William to her family. The weight on her chest gradually transformed into a knot, twisting with each turn of the road. She clutched the steering wheel, her knuckles white, her mind racing with questions. What could her brother possibly have to say that required a face-to-face meeting? As she pulled up in front of the modest home she had grown up in, the nostalgic familiarity rushed over her. The faded blue paint of the porch, the tinkling wind chime dancing in the breeze, it was all so comforting, yet all she felt was trepidation. Jake's voice called the moment she stepped inside. His face was drawn, the easy smile she knew now replaced by furrowed brows and a tightly clenched jaw. "What is going on?" she asked, anxiety bubbling up as they settled into the worn couch. "You look like you've seen a ghost." "Yeah, it's been a rough few days," he admitted, rubbing at his temples like they could erase whatever burden loomed over him. "I just got off the phone with Dad." Her heart dropped. "What did he say?" Jake hesitated, staring at his hands. "He hasn't been well, Emily. The doctor called after his last checkup. Things aren't looking good. They think it might be worse than we thought." Shock hit her like a punch to the gut, and she fought to breathe against the tide of overwhelming emotions. "Why didn't he call me? I would have come home if I'd known." "I didn't want to worry you," Jake replied, his voice nearly breaking. "He didn't want to worry you. But he has been hiding it. Mom knows more than she lets on." As the walls of the room closed in around her, Emily felt anger and fear surge simultaneously. Why had her father chosen to bear this alone? This wasn't just about the physical distance, it was a chasm of secrets that threatened to tear their family apart. "But we can't let him do this alone," she cried out, her voice a mix of frustration and desperation. "We need to rally around him now. He needs support." "Exactly," Jake said, his eyes lighting up with a flicker of hope. "I think if we confront him together, maybe he'll open up. We have to be there for him, Em. That's what family is for." Emily nodded, swallowing hard as a resolution took hold. This was her family, bound by love and loyalty. No matter how complicated things got with William, she couldn't let the threat of losing her father draw her away from her roots. Family first. As they discussed their strategy to face their father, thoughts of William lingered at the edges of her mind. The partnership, the mystery, everything felt so far away while she sat here grappling with reality. Yet beneath that distant thrill lay a worry. If she took too long with her family, would she lose what she had started to build with William? Just as they finalized their plan, her phone buzzed again. It was a text from William, 5 simple words that sent a ripple of anxiety through her. "Is everything okay with you?" "Jake," she started, glancing at her brother as uncertainty flooded back. "What do I do about William? I don't want to ignore him, but my family needs me." "I think you need to decide what's most important to you right now, Em. You can't be everywhere at once," he said, his tone firm yet gentle. Torn between duty and desire, Emily sat in the eye of the storm. She felt the weight of the choices ahead, each heavy with potential consequences. Family or ambition? Would pursuing answers with William be worth the risk of leaving her family behind when they needed her most? With her heart racing, she realized she had to act soon before time slipped away from her grasp. As she looked up, determination shining in her eyes, she felt one truth all too clear. She was about to plunge into a day filled with challenges, revelations, and perhaps even heartbreak. What would she choose? And could her heart handle it all? Emily sat on the couch, her heart a wild drumbeat in her chest. She could feel her brother's eyes on her, waiting for guidance she wasn't sure she had. The urgency of the situation weighed down on her. It was like being pulled in 2 directions, each tug a different truth that clashed within her. "I need to respond to him," she finally said, her voice tremulous. "William, he deserves to know what's happening." Jake shifted next to her, the couch creaking beneath their tension. "Of course he does, but don't forget why you're here, Em. Your dad needs you too." She was torn, a cascade of emotions cascading over her. As she pulled out her phone, she toyed with the idea of leaving William hanging, of focusing solely on her father and brother. But the thought of letting someone else in her life down was suffocating. With shaky fingers, She tapped out a quick reply. Just got home. Family issues. She hit send before she could second-guess herself. The silence that followed felt heavy, the air thick with unspoken words. Jake's expression was a mix of understanding and concern. You know you can't solve everything, right? He reminded her quietly, placing a hand on her shoulder. I know that, she snapped, instantly regretting the edge in her tone. I just feel like if I don't keep everything in balance, I'll lose everything. You're only human. You can do your best, but you can't do it all. Just focus on Dad right now and see where things go after. She swallowed hard, the lump not quite dissolving. Jake was right, but it didn't make the weight any lighter. Just then, a sound vibrated from her phone again. A notification flashed on the screen. Another message from William. I'll be here when you're ready. A sharp gasp escaped her lips. The way he offered that unyielding support stirred something deep within her. Isn't that what she had wanted all along from both him and her family? But right now, she had to fix her sights on her father. Fine, she sighed, setting aside her phone. Let us figure this out. We'll talk to Dad together. He needs to know we're here for him. Jake nodded, the lines of concern easing slightly from his face. They both rose from the couch, determination solidifying their resolve. The hallway felt longer than usual as she walked toward her dad's room. Each step was laden with emotions, fear, apprehension, but also a flicker of hope. Hope that once they confronted him, their father would finally share everything he had kept bottled inside. As they reached the door, a wave of hesitation hit Emily. What if he pushed them away? What if he refused to let them in? She paused, glancing at Jake, who met her eye with an encouraging nod. Go ahead, he whispered. She knocked gently, the sound echoing into the unknown, waiting for someone on the other side. Dad? Her voice trembled, silence stretched, thick and dense. Just when she thought he might not respond, the door creaked open. Emily? Jake? What are you doing here? His voice sounded distant. In that moment, as the door opened wider, Emily caught a glimpse of the man she grew up with, his face weary, but still familiar. It felt like everything around them shifted, the reality of what was coming crashing over her. They were about to cross a line, steps into a territory where families wrestled with shadows and light. Dad, we need to talk, she said, her voice steadier now, determination filling the air. We're in this together. You're not alone. As the words left her mouth, she could feel a change stirring, a crack forming in the walls of secrecy built over time. And yet, deep down, uncertainty tightened in her stomach. She wondered if this time would bring them closer or pull them apart. What would her father reveal? And would they be ready for whatever came next? Emily stood on the edge of a monumental shift as she and Jake stepped into the warmth of their childhood home. The familiar smell of baked cookies lingered, but today it felt different, a bittersweet reminder of what was at stake. They found their father sitting on the couch, his face etched with lines of worry, eyes reflecting the weight he had been carrying alone. Hey, Dad, Jake said softly, taking the lead. Emily's heart raced, knowing the conversation ahead was pivotal. Emily, Jake, what's going on? Her father asked, glancing between them with a mix of concern and confusion. Dad, we know something's wrong, Emily started, her voice trembling but firm. We're here to talk about what you've been hiding from us. You don't have to go through this alone. Their father sighed, a heaviness in his shoulders. The tension in the room thickened, a palpable wall that seemed to separate them, but Emily wasn't backing down. They had to peel back the layers of secrecy. Dad, I know you haven't been well. And I want to understand why you didn't tell us sooner, Jake added, his tone urging their father to open up. With a slight nod, their father finally began to share his truth. He spoke of his diagnosis, of tests, of uncertainty, and of a deep fear that hung over him. As he unfolded his worries, the walls Emily had sensed all kept crumbling, revealing a vulnerability that struck home. Tears welled in her eyes, but she held them back, feeling urgency and support surge within her. Why didn't he reach out? We would come and helped, Emily gently urged, her voice laced with emotion. He looked down, shame clouding his features. I didn't want to worry you. I thought if I just handled it on my own, you'd be spared the pain. Well, we're already in this together, Jake interjected, taking their father's hand. You're not alone anymore, Dad. We're family and families stick together, no matter what. With that, a breakthrough occurred. Their father looked up, a spark igniting in his eyes. The change was palpable. The air turned electric as his heart opened, and he shared memories of their family's struggles and triumphs, no longer keeping them to himself. In those moments, Emily realized how fragile life was and how essential it was to lean on each other in times of need. Outside the cozy bubble of their home, the rest of the world felt distant. Moments turned into hours, and the conversation flowed freely, now discussing what was next, how to fight this battle as a family. Through tears and laughter, the connection they built grew stronger, the love they shared becoming the beacon of hope in their uncertain times. As they embraced, they found solace in togetherness, a feeling that made Emily's worries about William retreat into the background for the night. She felt clarity emerge, the warmth of family grounding her amidst life's unpredictable waves. Let us tackle this together, Emily said with newfound resolve, her brother nodding in agreement. We can make a plan, and we will support each other every step of the way. But on her drive back to the diner later that evening, the weight of decisions hanging in the air reminded her of the question, still looming: what about her ambition, her potential partnership with William? The prospect both thrilled and terrified her, weaving in and out of her thoughts. She arrived at the diner, the familiar twinkle of lights dancing against the darkness. The atmosphere was bursting with chatter and clanging utensils, yet it felt different. Millie paused to greet her at the door, concern weaving into the fabric of her smile. Emily, there you are. How did it go? Millie asked, her eyes glimmering with intrigue. It went well. We opened up, finally ventured into uncharted waters together, Emily said, relief washing over her. But then, William's looming figure flashed through her thoughts again, and something stirred within her. What was her path forward? Would she later regret her decision if she didn't pursue this opportunity he offered? Speaking of uncharted, I need to talk to you, Millie, she said, taking a seat at the counter. Millie leaned in, her expression patient and encouraging. What's on your mind, kiddo? I'm torn between my old life here and something new with William. It's not just about my dreams. It feels like I'm leaving part of my heart behind. Millie considered her for a moment, compassion softening her gaze. Emily, you don't have to decide right now. The diner, your family, they will always be your roots. But if something calls to you, if you pursue your passion, you can carry us with you. A wave of gratitude washed over Emily. A realization flooded in. She could embrace the opportunity without severing her ties. The words resonated deep within. She could create a life where both worlds melded together, her love for Riverside fueling her ambition rather than hindering it. Just then, her phone buzzed again, pulling her from her thoughts. It was a text from William, and for a moment, her heart skipped a beat. Thinking of you. Hope all is well. Smiling softly, she knew she wouldn't ignore him any longer. She grabbed her phone, fingers poised to reply as the warmth of determination surged through her. Hey Millie, she said with newfound energy, I think I'm ready to embrace this adventure. Smart girl. Millie grinned, alluding to the camaraderie that bound them. Remember, you bring your magic wherever you go. Go make your dreams come true. With a newfound resolve, Emily sent her reply to William. Can we meet soon? I'd like to talk about the future. As the night settled in, Emily looked around the diner, soaking in the laughter and the familiarity of it all. Life was about connections, about daring to weave new dreams into the tapestry of love and relationships. She felt a tremendous weight lift off her shoulders. She was ready to step into both worlds, carrying the goodness of Riverside with her into whatever lay ahead. Tomorrow would be a new dawn, a fresh beginning filled with potential. The balance she sought felt within reach, both love and ambition waiting for her to grasp them. And as she stepped outside into the night, the stars twinkled above as if urging her onwards. She was ready to follow the path of her heart, embracing the unexpected twists that life had to offer. Now is the time to take a leap, just as Emily did. Subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss our next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and support us. Comment below your reactions and feelings about this ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share. You need to support our channel. Only true fans understand the impact of these actions.